was looking for a better quality of life. And I had deteriorated quite quickly from March until August when I left. And I'm very excited for what the future holds for myself, because I have seen in the last 3 months of what it's done for myself, and I am so looking forward to what's going to happen in the next years of the study that are going to be done with CCSVI. So that was my experience.
And I just want to clarify one thing with you. When you said that you didn't get the instant relief with the warmth to the feet and the hands, didn't that come with tequila though? Okay, just to clarify. So now I'd like you to introduce you to Kathleen Lynch, who has come up from Seattle.
Hi everyone. I'm very excited to be here, and as I walked in the door, Cheryl said, "Oh, could you be one of our speakers, please?" So I don't have anything prepared, but I'm certainly able to share my experience and my hope. I was diagnosed with MS in 2006. My first episode was in 2004, and I was diagnosed 3 months after my mother was. I took care of my mother. She was diagnosed with ALS in addition to her MS within months of our diagnosis. So I was taking care of her and getting sicker and sicker and sicker. She died in December of 2007. I had to retire from a career I loved, a career I was born to do, in the middle of 2008. So I just sat in my lazy boy recliner and I watched the Dead Behind the Eyes Kardashians on the E! channel, because that is all that my cog fog could handle. I have been an avid reader all my life, and I couldn't read anymore because I didn't have the concentration to read. You have to remember what the beginning of the sentence says by the time you get to the end of the sentence, and I couldn't do that. So my symptoms were debilitating fatigue, absolutely no balance. Moving my eyes would knock me off balance. I had cognitive fog. I had this sense of detachment. I called it, interestingly enough, before I learned about the iron deposition in the brain, I called it tin head or stainless steel skull, because it was a creepy, creepy, ugly sense of reality. I felt it every moment. I had the opposite, since we're talking bladder issues with our up close and personal friends here. I had the opposite problem. I had urine retention. I could not void my bladder completely. I had 28 symptoms that I listed. I am eternally grateful to Canadians and to Facebook. That's where I learned about it. And are any of you obsessed with researching this right now? Who's obsessed? Let's see the yeah, you have to have the computer surgically removed from you, right? Okay, I got into that obsession mode, and I just knew. It was to the marrow of my bone, to my myelin. I was going to get this done. And my husband said, well, where? How? And I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm going to do it. Now, he doesn't like me to say that because it makes me look reckless, and I think those of us who did it aren't reckless, but we are lab rats. We're very brave lab rats, and we're willing lab rats. Somebody told me how brave I was, and I said, I never thought of it being brave. I said, oh, I was thinking it was more desperate than brave. And so I had this window of opportunity. It felt like closing, shifting windows. I dove in head first, went to Egypt by myself, and I was treated by Dr. Tariq Sinan. I spent 3 nights in Egypt and came home. I was one of those who had the miraculous on the table. I'm spinning, I'm dancing. if you've seen my YouTube video, you've seen me cartwheeling and bicycle riding. So it was miraculous for me. I did not want to die like my mother did, and so I just went for it. I've since been back to Egypt 5 times. I had the extraordinary experience of watching Dr. Sinan in action. I was in the cath lab with him, and I observed 30 balloon angioplasties, and I am a woman with a mission now. And we have 2 doctors in Seattle now who are doing this. I am 15 minutes away from Swedish Hospital, and get in touch with me if this is costing you a lot of money. I offer you my home as a place to stay if you come to Seattle. I'm not endorsing any doctor. I just know that this journey takes us to many different locations, and if Seattle happens to be yours, I would love to be your host while you're there. I am eternally grateful to Canadians. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kathleen, and thanks for making the trip up.
I am happy to announce that I can pee like a racehorse.
Just need a moment now. So Kate, did we follow that one up? So now I'd like to introduce you to Kate Cardinal Redfern, who is from Seychelles.
Gibsons.
I'm from Gibsons, actually. It's already 7 hours later. That was wonderful. My name's Kate Cardinal Redfern, and I'm 44. It's okay. I was diagnosed 18 years ago with permanent progressive, which wasn't true because I didn't stay permanent and I didn't progress the way they said I was going to. I did not do the medical route. I actually never went to the MS Society. I got diagnosed by my neurologist and walked out of his office and never went back. And that was my choice. I went for a natural route and really felt that it helped me for a long time. And about 7 years ago, I started deteriorating quite rapidly. This last year was spent mostly sitting. I was using a wheelchair and a scooter to get around. I could walk about 15-20 feet with a cane on one side and a person on the other side. That's one of the reasons I never went anywhere. I wanted to stay near a bathroom, and that's, that's a hard place to get, in your pride to find a bathroom that's close. Pain was a constant. There were so many symptoms actually that I didn't, it was probably when I went for the procedure, it was the first time I actually sat down and wrote down all of my symptoms, and it was so depressing. I tore it up and threw it away. I had the procedure done in Katowice, Poland by Dr. Simka's team. I was blown away by the care of these people. It was something else. And I too had quite a miraculous event on the table. I really liked being awake. I've heard of some people having the procedure done and being asleep. I was really glad to be awake, to be aware of what was happening to my body. I did feel everything. I kept asking the anesthetist, I said, "Are you sure you gave me something? Because I can feel everything." And she's like, "Oh, no, you're not feeling pain." I went, "Oh, no, but I can feel everything." And she was like, "No, that's okay." And I could feel the balloon. I've been saying this from the very beginning because I really got it when the doctors at Falls Creek told me this. They said, the ultrasound and the MRV are indicators. And I really got that. And so, and proof of that is that both the Doppler and the MRV showed me stenosis on both sides. But when they went in and actually did the venogram, it was just my right side. My left side actually was fine. So those first two tests, though helpful, you know, in seeing what your blood flow is doing, they're not absolutes. And there's a lot of misconception with that going on. I had my feeling, I had no feeling in my legs, my balance was gone. No feeling in my legs and down my arms for years. And that feeling came back on the table. That was incredible. It was like somebody poured feeling down my body. It was the most amazing experience. Nurses, I made several doctors and nurses cry because I went from being lifted onto a table. People had to lift my legs. I couldn't lift my foot 4 inches off the ground. So these people went from carrying me around to watching me get up and walk around without my cane, all by myself. And it sort of made me feel fantastic. It made some of the people there feel really bad because they didn't get the same results. But it's been 2.5 months now. I've talked to these people since, and they're noticing results 2 months later. So I would do it again tomorrow. I would do it every couple of months, actually, if I had to. I'm a firm believer, and that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate, that was great. And certainly certainly not last, whatever that is. Emily Hembrog Davis from North Vancouver.
Well, a little bit about my MS. I woke up in 2006, 7 weeks after being married, fully paralyzed on my right side. A little dry in here. Went back to baseline for 4 years. My second flare happened where my balance completely went about 4 years later, almost to a date. And then 2 months after that, woke up fully paralyzed, left side, gone. So I spent a lot of time on Facebook, a lot of time researching, because I had nothing else to do but lay in bed, because I really couldn't move. So everybody watched the W5 story, then Facebook took off. I was contacted, and everybody knows that whole story, so I'm not going to get into it. I was contacted by Sandra, thankfully, and she sent me the information on, She sent me the information on Albany, New York. So I went there with a fellow MSer from Edmonton,